of triangular prisms. So we're going to start off here on question one, and we have this 3D shape, and the question is asking what's the name of this 3D shape? As we just said, it is a triangular prism. All right, and let's break this down a little bit. So the shape is called a triangular prism. What that means is that our bases are triangles, and a prism has two bases. All right, so prism has two bases, and those two bases are both in the shape or both in the form of a triangle. So our next question is saying, what is the base shape? All right, it's a triangular prism. Since it's a triangular prism, that means the shape of our base is a triangle. All right, the next question says, how many bases are there? Well, since it's a prism, we know that there are two bases. All right, so now the next question is asking for us to figure out what the area of the triangles are. So they said triangles meaning both because our bases are going to be identical here. So if we find the area of one of the bases, all we'll have to do is multiply by 2 and find the area of both bases. So I know that since our bases are triangles, we're going to use the formula area is equal to base times height divided by 2. So I'm going to make sure I do that whenever I'm finding the area of my triangle. All right, so I'm going to lower the opacity a little bit and highlight. So I'm going to highlight my triangular bases. So here's one base, and here's the other one. All right, so we're going to multiply the two values here that create a right angle. So 6 feet and 8 feet create the right angle. So those are the two bases that we're going to use here. I mean, those are the two links that we're going to use here. So I'm going to do area is equal to 8 times 6, and then I'm going to divide by 2. 8 times 6 is going to get me 48. 48 divided by 2 is going to get me 24. So I know the area of one of these bases, I mean of one of these one of these bases, I'm sorry, is going to be 24 feet squared. But I don't want to know the area of just one of the bases. I want to know the area of both. So what I would have to do is multiply 24 times 2, which gets me 48 again. And now I know the area of both of my bases is 48 feet squared. All right, now our next question is saying, find the area of one of the rectangles. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to highlight one of the rectangles. Oh, that's not. All right, so I'm going to highlight this rectangle back here. All right, so I highlighted this rectangle on the back, and it wants us to know what the area of it is. So I'm going to multiply my base and my height. Remember, when we're finding the area of a rectangle, we're just multiplying base times height. So I know I'm going to multiply 8 times 6, because those represent my base and my height. And that gets me an area of 48 feet squared. All right, now the next question is saying, find the area of one of the other rectangles. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight one of the other rectangles. I'm going to highlight this one in the front. So if I highlight this one in the front, we're only looking at this rectangle up top. I'm going to multiply 10 and 4 together. Those are the two numbers that we're using for that rectangle. So I'm going to do area is equal to base times height, and then I'm going to multiply 10 times 4. And that gets me an area of 40 feet squared. All right, the next question saying, find the area of one of the other rectangles. So we're going to find the area of that last rectangle. And notice, guys, a rectangular prism has a triangular prism has triangular bases. Since the bases are triangles, triangles have three sides. All right, so triangles have three sides, so that means that a triangular prism is going to have three rectangular faces. So we're just finding the area of all three of those rectangular faces. All right, so oops, I lower my opacity. All right, so we're going to find the area of this last rectangle back here. All right, so I know uh, my base is going to be 6 and my height is going to be 4. So I'm just going to do area is equal to base times height, and I'm just multiplying 6 times 4. And that gives me an area of 24 feet squared. All right, so we were able to find the area of all three of our faces and also our two bases. Now the next question is going to ask, what's the total surface area of the triangular prism? So the total surface area means that we're just going to add all of these numbers together and we find our total surface area. So we're going to add our bases, which are triangles, and our three faces. So I'm going to add 48 plus 48 plus 40 plus 24. All right, so when I add 48 plus 48 plus 40 and plus 24, I end up with 160 feet squared for my total surface area. All right, so what this question didn't ask us, and I'm just going to go ahead and add it off to the side, is our lateral surface area. So I'm going to write lateral. So our lateral surface area is the same exact thing, except we're not going to include our bases. So the lateral surface area is the surface area, just not including our bases. So that means I'm not going to add this 48 up top, all right? Because that 48 represents the area of both of our bases, but we're not including them. So I'm just going to add 48 plus 40 plus 24. All right, so when I add those together, when I add 48 plus 40 plus 24, I end up with 112 feet squared. So remember, all the lateral surface area is our surface area without including our bases. All right, let's do one more practice problem together before I let you guys go, because I know you're tired of hearing my voice, and it's Monday. Some of you guys got other things to do. Well, any other day, you guys have something else to do. All right, so let's go look at number 2. It says, what's the name of this 3D shape? So don't let this confuse you. This is actually the same shape as question 1. This is just called a net. A net's like when we break apart the shape and lay it flat down. So this too is in fact a triangular prism. So again, with a triangular prism, we have triangular bases and rectangular faces. It's pretty easy to identify a triangular prism in this net form because your bases are going to be the ones flapping out. All right, the next question is, what is the shape? What is the base shape? And it's a triangular prism, so that means our bases are triangles. The next question says, how many bases are there? So it's a prism, so there are 2 bases. All right, the next question, the follow-up question says, find the area of the triangles. So we have 2 matching triangles, 2 identical triangles. So I'm just going to highlight them. I'm going to highlight them in green. So these are our 2 bases And if I want to find the area of the base of a triangle, or if I want to find the area of a triangle, I'm going to do area is equal to base times height divided by 2. So I'm going to multiply the two sides that create a right angle, and that's 6 and 8. So I'm going to do area. Oh, snap. I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to do area. Oh, why does it keep doing that? Area is equal to 6 times 8 divided by 2. All right. 6 times 8 gets me 48. 48 divided by 2 gets me 24 feet squared. All right, but we have two bases. Since we have two bases, I'm going to take 24 and multiply it times 2, and that gets us an area of 48 feet squared. All right, looking at the next one, what's the area of the big rectangle? So they want to know what the area of the big rectangle is here. So I'm going to highlight this large rectangle. All right, so they want to know what the area of this large rectangle is. All right, I know the height of the rectangle here is going to be is going to be 4 feet. And then my base is going to be 10. So I'm going to multiply. Well, first I'm going to do area is equal to base times height. My base is 10 and my height is 4. 10 times 4 gives me 40 feet squared here. All right, so they only asked for the area of the big rectangle for some reason, but then they do follow up and say, what is the total surface area of the triangular prism? All right, so we're trying to figure out what the total surface area is. So that means that we need to know the area of all of our shapes. So we found out the area of the big rectangle is 40 feet squared. The area of my triangles are 24 feet squared apiece. All right, now I'm going to find the area of this middle rectangle. All right, this middle rectangle, I'm going to multiply 8 times 4 together, and that gets me 32 feet squared. And then for this front rectangle, the first one, I'm going to multiply 4 times 6, which is going to give me 24 feet squared. All right, so now we're just gonna add all of these together. Instead of writing 24 plus 24 plus 24, I'm gonna write down 48 plus 24. 48 represents my combined total for my bases. So 24 plus 24 is gonna give me 48. Then I'm gonna add in the measurements of my rectangles. So the first one was 24 feet squared. The second one was 32 feet squared. And the last one was 40 feet squared. So we're just going to add 48 plus 24 plus 32 plus 40, and we end up with a total lateral surface area of 144 feet squared. All right, so that was our total surface area. If we want to figure out what our lateral surface area is, then we just don't include our bases. So we're going to take out our bases here. Our bases were triangles, all right? So our total, well, the area of our bases is 48 feet squared. So if we want to know the lateral surface area is, that's just the surface area of our faces. So we would just add those three values together. So I'm going to write lateral surface area. So I would just add 24 plus 32 plus 40. and that gets me 96 feet squared. All right, so that's all there is to it for our notes today. Biggest things, remember, it's a triangular prism. That means your bases are the shape of triangles, and there are two bases because it's a prism. With triangular prisms, our faces are the shapes of a rectangle. So we have rectangular faces and triangular bases. All right, you guys have a great